The Path of Purification, Visuddhimagga, or Bhattanta Charya Buddha Ghosa, published by Buddhist Publication Society, Kandy, Sri Lanka. Part 2, Concentration, Samadhi.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Chapter 5, The Remaining Kasiṇas, Sesa, Kasiṇa, Nidesa, the Water Kasiṇa. Extracts, passage 1 to 42. Now, the water Kasiṇa comes next after the earth Kasiṇa. Here is the detailed explanation. One who wants to develop the water Kasiṇa should, as in the case of the earth Kasiṇa, seat himself comfortably and apprehend the sign in water that is either made up or not made up, etc. And so all the rest should be repeated in detail. And as in this case, so with all those that follow in this chapter, we shall in fact not repeat even this much, and shall only point out what is different. Here too, when someone has had practice in previous lives, the sign arises for him in water that is not made up, such as a pool, a lake, a lagoon, or the ocean, as in the case of the elder Chula Siva. The Venerable One, it seems, thought to abandon gain and honor and live a secluded life. He boarded a ship at Mahatita, Manna, and sailed to Jambudvipa, India. As he gazed at the ocean, meanwhile, the Kasiṇa sign, the counterpart of that ocean, arose in him. Someone with no such previous practice should guard against the four faults of a Kasiṇa and not apprehend the water as one of the colors blue, yellow, red, or white. He should fill a bowl or a four-footed water pot to the brim with water, uncontaminated by soil, taken in the open through a clean cloth strainer or with any other clear unturbid water. He should put it in a screened place on the outskirts of the monastery, as already described, and seat himself comfortably. He should neither review its color nor bring its characteristic to mind. Apprehending the color as belonging to its physical support, he should set his mind on the name concept as the most outstanding mental datum, and using any among the various names for water, apo, such as rain, ambu, liquid, udaka, dew, vari, fluid, salila. He should develop the Kasiṇa by using preferably the obvious water. As he develops it in this way, the two signs eventually arise in him in the way already described. Here, however, the learning sign has the appearance of moving. If the water has bubbles of froth mixed with it, the learning sign has the same appearance, and it is evident as a fault in the Kasiṇa. But the counterpart sign appears inactive, like a crystal fan set in space, like the disc of a looking glass made of crystal. With the appearance of that sign, he reaches access jhana and the jhana tetrad and pentad in the way already described. The fire Kasiṇa. Anyone who wants to develop the fire Kasiṇa should apprehend the sign in fire. Herein, when someone with merit, having had previous practice, is apprehending the sign, it arises in him in any sort of fire not made up, as he looks at the fiery combustion in the lamp's flame, or in a furnace, or in a place for baking bowls, or in a forest conflagration, as in the elder Chittagutta's case. The sign arose in that elder as he was looking at the lamp's flame while he was in the Upasattva house on the day of preaching the Dhamma. Anyone else should make one up. Here are the directions for making it. He should split up some damp hardwood, dry it, and break it up into short lengths. He should go to a suitable tree root or to a shed and there make a pile in the way done for baking bowls and have it lit. He should make a hole a span and 4 fingers wide in a rush mat or a piece of leather or a cloth, and after hanging it in front of the fire, he should sit down in the way already described. Instead of giving attention to the grass and sticks below or the smoke above, he should apprehend the sign in the dense combustion in the middle. He should not review the color as blue or yellow, etc., or give attention to its characteristic as heat, etc., but taking the color as belonging to its physical support and setting his mind on the name concept as the most outstanding mental datum, and using any among the names for fire, tejo, such as the bright one, pavaka, the lever of the black trail, kanhavatani, the knower of creatures, jataveda, the altar of sacrifice, hutasana. He should develop the Kasiṇa by using preferably the obvious fire. As he develops it in this way, the 2 signs eventually arise in him as already described. Herein, the learning sign appears like the fire to keep sinking down as the flame keeps detaching itself. But when someone apprehends it in the Kasiṇa that is not made up, any fault in the Kasiṇa is evident in the learning sign, and any firebrand or pile of embers or ashes or smoke appears in it. The counterpart sign appears motionless, like a piece of red cloth set in space, like a gold fan, like a gold column. With his appearance, he reaches access jhana and the jhana tetrad and pentad in the way already described. The air Kasiṇa. Anyone who wants to develop the air Kasiṇa should apprehend the sign in the air, and that is done either by sight or by touch. For this is said in the commentaries, one who is learning the air Kasiṇa apprehends the sign in air. He notices the tops of growing sugarcane moving to and fro, or he notices the tops of bamboos, or the tops of trees, or the ends of the hair moving to and fro, or he notices the touch of it on the body. So when he sees sugar canes with dense foliage standing with tops level, or bamboos or trees, or else hair 4 fingers long on a man's head, been struck by the wind, he should establish mindfulness in this way. This wind is striking on this place. Or he can establish mindfulness where the wind strikes a part of his body after entering by a window opening or by a crack in the wall, and using any among the names for wind, vata, beginning with wind, vata, breeze, malutta, blowing, anila. He should develop the kasina by using, preferably, the obvious air, air. Here the learning sign appears to move like the swirl of hot steam on rice grill just withdrawn from an oven. The counterpart sign is quiet and motionless. The rest should be understood in the way already described. The blue kasina. Next, it is said in the commentaries, one who is learning the blue kasina apprehends a sign in blue, whether in the flower or in the cloth or in the color element. Firstly, when someone has merit, having had previous practice, the sign arises in him when he sees a bush with blue flowers, or such flowers spread out on a place of offering, or any blue cloth or gem. But anyone else should take flowers such as blue lotuses, girikanika, morning glory flowers, etc., and spread them out to fill a tray or a flat basket completely, so that no stamen or stalk shows, or with only their petals. Or he can fill it with blue cloth bunched up together, or he can fasten the cloth over the rim of the tray or basket, like the covering of a drum. Or he can make a kasina dish, either portable, as described under the earth kasina, or on the wall, with one of the color elements such as bronze green, leaf green, archjana, ointment black, surrounding it with a different color. After that, he should bring it to mind as blue, blue, in the way already described under the earth kasina. And here too, any fault in the kasina is evident in the learning sign. The stamens and stalks and the gaps between the petals, etc., are apparent. The counterpart sign appears like a crystal fan in space, free from the kasina disc. The rest should be understood as already described. The yellow kasina. Likewise with the yellow kasina, for this is said, one who is learning the yellow kasina apprehends a sign in yellow, either in the flower or in a cloth or in a color element. Therefore here too, when someone has merit, having had previous practice, the sign arises in him when he sees a flowering bush, or flowers spread out, or yellow cloth or colored element, as in the case of the elder Chittagutta. That venerable one, it seems, saw an offering being made on the flower altar with patanga flowers at Chittalapabata, and as soon as he saw it, the sign arose in him, the size of the flower altar. Anyone else should make a kasina in the way described for the blue kasina, with kanikara flowers, etc., or with yellow cloth or with a colored element. He should bring it to mind as yellow, yellow. The rest is as before. The red kasina. Likewise with the red kasina, for this is said, one who is learning the red kasina apprehends a sign in red, either in a flower or in a cloth or in the color element. Therefore, here too, when someone has merit, having had previous practice, the sign arises in him when he sees a bandhu jivaka, hibiscus bush, etc., in flower or such flowers spread out, or a red cloth or gem or color element. But anyone else should make a kasina in the same way already described for the blue kasina, with Jayasumana flowers or bandhu jivaka or red korandaka flowers, etc., or with red cloth or with a color element. He should bring it to mind as red, red. The rest is as before. The white kasina. Of the white kasina, it is said, one who is learning the white kasina apprehends a sign in white, either in a flower or in a cloth or in a color element. So firstly, when someone has merit, having had previous practice, the sign arises in him when he sees a flowering bush of such a kind as vasi, kasumana, jasmine flowers, etc., spread out, or a heap of white lotuses or lilies, white cloth or color element, and it also arises in a tin disc, a silver disc, and the moon disc. Anyone else should make a kasina in the way already described for the blue kasina, with the white flowers already mentioned, or with a white cloth or color element. He should bring it to mind as white, white. The rest is as before. The light kasina. Of the light kasina, it is said, one who is learning the light kasina apprehends the sign in light, in a hole in a wall, or in a keyhole, or in a window opening. So firstly, when someone has merit, having had previous practice, the sign arises in him when he sees a circle thrown on a wall or a floor by sunlight or moonlight entering through a hole in a wall, etc. Or when he sees a circle thrown on the ground by sunlight or moonlight coming through a gap in the branches of a dense-leaved tree, or through a gap in a hut made of closely packed branches. Anyone else should use that same kind of circle of luminosity just described, developing it as luminosity, luminosity, or light, light. If he cannot do so, he can light a lamp inside a pot, close the pot's mouth, make a hole in it, and place it with the hole facing a wall. The lamplight coming out of the hole shows a circle on the wall. He should develop that as light, light. This lasts longer than the other kinds. Here the learning sign is like the circle thrown on the wall or the ground. The counterpart sign is like a compact, bright cluster of lights. The rest is as before. The limited space kasina. Of the limited space kasina, it is said, one who is learning the space kasina apprehends a sign in a hole or in a wall, or in a keyhole, or in the window opening. So firstly, when someone has merit, having had previous practice, the sign arises in him when he sees any such gap as a hole in a wall. Anyone else should make a hole a span and 4 fingers broad in a well-thatched hut, or in a piece of leather, or in a rush mat, and so on. He should develop one of these, or a hole such as a hole in a wall, as space, space. Here the learning sign resembles the hole together with the wall, etc., that surrounds it. Attempts to extend it fail. The counterpart sign appears only as a circle of space. Attempts to extend it succeed. The rest should be understood as described under the earth Kasiṇa. General. He with 10 powers, who all things did see, tells 10 Kasiṇas, each of which can be the cause of fourfold and of fivefold jhana, the fine material sphere's own master key. Now knowing their descriptions and the way to tackle each and how they are developed, there are some further points that will repay study, each with its special part to play. Of these, the earth Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as a state described as having been one, he becomes many, etc., and stepping or standing or sitting on space or on water by creating earth, and the acquisition of the basis of mastery by the limited and measureless method. The water Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as diving in and out of the earth, causing rain, storms, creating rivers and seas, making the earth and rocks and palaces quake. The fire Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as smoking, flaming, causing showers of sparks, countering fire with fire, ability to burn only what one wants to burn, causing light for the purpose of seeing visible objects with the divine eye, burning up the body by means of the fire element at the time of attaining Nibbana. The air Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as going with the speed of the wind, causing windstorms. The blue Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as creating black forms, causing darkness, acquisition of the basis of mastery by the method of fairness and ugliness, and attainment of the liberation by the beautiful. The yellow Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as creating yellow forms, resolving that something shall be gold, acquisition of the basis of mastery in the way stated, and attainment of the liberation by the beautiful. The red Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as creating red forms, acquisition of the basis of mastery in the way stated, and attainment of the liberation by the beautiful. The white Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as creating white forms, banishing stiffness and torpor, dispelling darkness, causing light for the purpose of seeing visible objects with the divine eye. The light Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as creating luminous forms, banishing stiffness and torpor, dispelling darkness, causing light for the purpose of seeing visible objects with the divine eye. The space Kasiṇa is the basis for such powers as revealing the hidden, maintaining postures inside the earth and rocks by creating space inside them, traveling unobstructed through walls, and so on. The classification above, below, around, exclusive, measureless applies to all Kasiṇas, for this is said, he perceives the earth Kasiṇa above, below, around, exclusive, measureless, and so on. Herein, above is upwards towards the sky's level, below is downwards towards the earth's level, around is marked off all around, like the perimeter of a field. For one extends the Kasiṇa upwards only, another downwards, another all around, or for some reason, another projects it thus, as one who wants to see visible objects with the divine eye projects light. Hence, above, below, around is said. The word exclusive, however, shows that anyone such state has nothing to do with any other. Just as there is water and nothing else in all directions for one who is actually in water, so too the earth Kasiṇa is the earth Kasiṇa only. It has nothing in common with any other Kasiṇa. Similarly, in each instance, measureless means measureless intentness. He is intent upon the entirety with his mind, taking no measurements in this way. This is its beginning. This is its middle. No Kasiṇa can be developed by any living being described as follows. Beings hindered by karma, by defilement, or by karma result, who lack faith, zeal, and understanding, will be incapable of entering into the certainty of rightness in profitable states. Herein, the words hindered by karma refer to those who possess bad karma, entailing immediate effect on rebirth. By defilement, who have fixed wrong view, or are hermaphrodites or eunuchs. By karma result, who have had a rebirth linking with no profitable root cause, or with only two profitable root causes. Lack faith, are destitute of faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Zeal, are destitute of zeal for the unopposed way. Understanding, are destitute of mundane and supramundane right view, will be incapable of entering into the certainty of rightness in profitable states, means that they are incapable of entering into the noble path called certainty and rightness in profitable states. And this does not apply only to Kasiṇas, for none of them will succeed in developing any meditation subject at all. So the task of devotion to a meditation subject must be undertaken by a clansman who has no hindrance by karma result, who shuns hindrance by karma and by defilement, and who fosters faith, zeal, and understanding by listening to the Dhamma, frequenting good men, and so on. The 5th chapter, called The Description of the Remaining Kasiṇas, in the treatise on the development of concentration in the path of purification, composed for the purpose of gladdening good people.